Who gets vice president?
Every time. Every time. I said, come on, Loretta. It slows down. Just Google me some Amish language and start speaking every
Obviously, we go in there.
Is the planning commission over? Thank you.
It is. It's but it's a whole
It was sitting in my seat.
That right there in itself would be enough to keep me from passing
How you doing?
How are you? I'm here.
We've all been missing that road.
Beautiful day.
I'm glad I'm not in Turkey right now. That's unbelievable.
What about that? All right, I'm all right with you.
Okay, it's time to call our meeting to order. If you would, please stand for the prayer and the pledge of allegiance, please. Dear gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and all the many blessings. Lord, we thank you once again for giving us an opportunity as a community to come together and make decisions that we pray are always in the best interest of thee. Lord, we pray for our country and the men and women that serve our country, and we pray that you put thy hand around them, and especially the ones on foreign soil, you bring them back home safe and sound, be thy will. We pray for our leaders, our worldwide leaders, that they always look to thee for wisdom and guidance, and we pray that you will do the same for us here. Pray for the sick, and especially the ones that we know, that be thy will, we pray that you restore them back to be much more in health. We ask you to forgive us of our sins. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. Chief Smith, can you lead us in the pledge of allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Chief. Roll call, Ms. Phillips.
Alderman Hood,
Present.
Alderman Gale,
Present.
Vice Mayor Dotson,
Present.
Alderman Elder, Alderman Langford,
Here.
Alderman Linder,
Here.
Alderman Pressley.
All present need a motion to approve the minutes of last month's meeting. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Alderman John Clough. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Linder. Any discussion? All for the motion, let it know by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign, motion passed. Any additions or deletions to the agenda? Hearing none, I need a motion to accept the agenda as is.
So moved.
Motion made by Alderman Rex Dale. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Alderman Bill Linder. Any discussion? All for the motion, let it know by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign, motion passed. No old business we have under new business. Item number 1, downtown revitalization, Mr. Gene Gant.
Good afternoon. We have a quick update on some of our projects for you. Not a lot of movement, but some. For the sidewalk project, we're in the process of preparing construction easements, documents on 15 small tracts that have to be talked about. And there's some meetings with the owners of at least 7 of those tracts coming up this week. The courthouse grant, we did get a final TDOT environmental approval just today. And our consultant is waiting on a notice to proceed for the final design. We expect to receive that by the end of the month, which means we anticipate advertising for bids for that project in September. The South Church Street grant field surveying has begun. We're waiting updated completion schedule on that. There is a meeting with consultants that's coming Friday morning. And the last grant was a traffic signal program grant that we have not received yet, but we did make the short list for that program. And members of the Traffic Operations Division were in Livingston on the 26th to review the project. So that's moving forward. We don't know for sure about it yet, but we're on the short list. So always a good thing. And that's all I have. Any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Gant? No
Thank you very
questions?
much.
Thank you, Gene. Also under downtown revitalization, Ms. Shannon Cantrell.
Good evening. I wanted to update all of you on our downtown improvement grant that the $100,000 downtown improvement grant that the Chamber is facilitating for our downtown area. We had our first meeting, well, I wouldn't call it our first meeting, but our first official meeting as far as our new application for the project goes. We met with about 20 downtown businesses and building owners who are interested in applying for this grant. We did this last week and went over some guidelines for them. So just wanted to let everyone else know that wasn't a part of that meeting. This grant is a 25% match. There is a $20,000 cap for reimbursements, and that would be for one building only, not multiple buildings. Our application deadline is April 1st by 4 p.m. this year. We plan to make announcements by April the 20th on which buildings are awarded the grant, and we have set a project completion date of May 1st, 2024. Of course, that date could potentially be pushed out a little bit depending on shipping times and, you know, how delivery dates and how all that can change in today's world. So hopefully we will have this completed by May 1st next year, and all of our recipients will be notified by April 20th. Applications will be at the Chamber if there's any interested parties who have not already picked theirs up.
Any questions for Ms. Cantrell?
Thank you.
Job well done. Thank you. Item number 2, under old business, Mr. Kyle Kofer, the retail, under new business, sorry, the retail coach, Mr. Kyle Kofer.
Mayor, council, thank you all for having me back.
You'll push your button, Kyle.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, Mayor, council, thank you all for having me back. I think this is probably my third or fourth time to present to this group since we really started our retail recruitment efforts. So I want to give you all an update on where we stand on that today, but also want to mention that, you know, a focus of ours is also on existing businesses as well. So my last trip here, we gave, you know, really 2 in-depth, you know, retail trend analysis that are focused on small businesses. And then today, Shannon and I spent some time kind of walking around a few small businesses doing kind of a follow-up overview. So had 3 or 4 good meetings today, and then also met with a existing business owner in town that is also a developer and owns some property. So, you know, on top of that, just want to give you all an update on kind of how I spent my time in town today. But really jumping into the recruitment update, I really like where we stand on 3 or 4 really good prospects, and I'll kind of jump into that. So we're working with a quick service burger restaurant. We have a new contact there. And oftentimes a new contact, getting some fresh eyes on markets are good. When we first talked to this restaurant group, they were not interested and said that they wanted to pass. This new contact has come in, and in quotes, he said, you know, we would love to have a presence in Livingston. So we have followed up. We have sent him all the sites that are a fit. I think I've told y'all this in the past, but site focus is a big part of what we do. Retailers and restaurants are scientific, and they know exactly what works for them. So we've really sent them everything in the market that works and kind of fits their criteria. So really our next step is trying to get them to the market to do a site tour, because, you know, getting in the car with myself and the mayor, things are much easier to sell once a site tour is in place. We're also working with a large-scale discount retailer. They said they would like to be in the market. Currently, no existing space available for them for what they look for. That kind of goes hand in hand with the meeting that myself and the mayor had with a developer today. So just FYI on that, there might not be any space now, but we're always looking forward in the future in this business. Also working with 2 brokers out of Nashville. They represent quite a few brands. We've been talking to them for probably about 6 months now, really just trying to get them nailed down on getting to the market. They've looked at a number of sites in town, have sent back 2 or 3 that they like. They haven't been very open on what type brands they're representing, but broker outreach is a part of what we do too. So these tenant reps, getting in front of them are a large portion of what we do. We're also working with a coffee shop. They've been interested for quite some time now, just trying to push them over the finish line, as well as another coffee shop. They just announced that they're opening 2,500 new stores by 2025. So that's going to give a lot of smaller markets an opportunity to get one of these stores. So we've got Livingston sites out there to them very quickly, trying to get them to the market as well. They showed some interest. Coffee shops kind of want to be on that morning, daytime traffic, so really sent them everything in town that will work for those guys. And then also we're working with a sandwich concept as well. The franchisee is out of Nashville, and currently he's building out that immediate area, and then wants to kind of expand his format outward. So we don't have a timeline on when he wants to get to this market, but he does have some things in front of him, data and sites as well. So that's kind of what I've got today. More than happy to answer any questions y'all might have.
Any questions for Mr. Cofer? Hearing none. Job well done, Mr. Cofer.
Thank you, guys.
Safe travels. If you can push that button, Kyle, I'd be, yeah, thank you. Item number 3, under new business, we have with us Mr. Todd Rowe, Peachtree Recovery Service.
Mayor Hayes, Alderman, citizens, thank you very much for sharing a few minutes of your time with me today to talk a little bit about our property damage recovery services. The whole intent here is to bring money back to the city without you having to spend any money or do any work. So we're hoping we can make that work out very well for you. So this is just kind of looking at some general crash statistics. So basically what we do is we look at 100% of your traffic accidents reports. And what we're looking to identify are damages to city assets. And these are things that can be down to $100, such as grass and landscaping in a median, trees, signs, guardrails, poles, fire hydrants, pretty much anything you get hit with an automobile. And most of that has already been hit before. So the reason we look at 100% is about 98% of the traffic crashes that occur in just about any city are what we call third-party accidents. These are people that are not part of the city's insurance policy. They're not employees. It's not damages to the city's fleet. That just tells you that most of the damage that's actually occurring, the city's going to have to go after the driver or the insurance policy to be recovered for any cleanup and repairs you actually make. About 8% of that 98% are property damages, meaning that it is damaging something. How do you figure out what that 8% is? Well, you're going to have to look at 100% to find them all, which is what we do. And we go all the way back to the statute of limitations in the state of Tennessee, which is 3 years. So we're going to read 3 years worth of accident reports initially to find all the money that we can to recover for the city by law. And typically what we have seen with a lot of our customers, and we're in about 7 different states now, and we work with cities and counties with a few hundred accidents per year up to about 40,000 a year. So we cover a pretty broad range. But typically what we've seen with our process is we use dedicated teams and we use our own software. And we're picking up about 18.5x more claims than our customers typically do. We also use 50% higher claim values. And a lot of that, you hear inflation all the time, right? So has the cost of a fire hydrant or a sign gone up? Yes, they have. Some have gone up 3 times in a year. So we keep track of all that when we file your claims for you to make sure we're getting you more than enough to cover the cleanup and repairs that the city will make. This page here is give you some kind of indication of the types of damages that we actually go through and see. And this is actually looking at your data for 2021. So we went through and just did a preliminary search. So you can see the quantities of each one of these assets that were damaged. That's looking also at the average cost, and it kind of gives you a sense of the amount of money that we would be looking to recover for the city on an annual basis. And then of course we got to give you a split out so that the public works teams can kind of see, hey, here's most of the assets that are getting damaged. So that way you can do planning a little bit better. How our process actually works, there's no cost to the city. We work on a contingency fee. So we are keeping a small percentage of what we actually recover. So the city does not need a budget line item for us. If we were to work for the city for a year, we did not recover any money for the city. The city has no obligation to pay us anything. We only work on that contingency. There are no startup fees, no cancellation fees, none of that stuff. We just work strictly off the contingency. And the way we get started is through a contract. We need that because we're going to subrogate on behalf of the city. So we have a standard contract that gets used in all the states that we work in. We use that to give that to the state. So we would work with TNDOT, give them a copy of that and show them we're authorized to see the reports, which are protected by law, on behalf of the city. So they're the ones who are going to give us access to their database. Once they give us the access, we just take off from 3 years ago. We start reading everything to today to recover as much as we can because we don't want those claims to expire under the statute. Once you guys give us that contract, you're done. There's nothing else you have to do. We will be sending monthly reports to you every month, telling you, giving you details of everything we're working on, and then the payments will come in the middle of the month. It'll be a single check that'll come back to the city. And that's pretty much all we need. We pretty much handle everything else from there. This is going back quite a few years, so this is what the contract, our typical contract looks like. We typically look for a 3-year initial term, give us time to go back and get all of the statute of limitations claims done. So this kind of gives you a rough idea of what we would be recovering for the city and what the potential cost payment that we would be withholding, right? Now, what we have seen with most of our clients is that the amount we're recovering, the cities typically don't get anyhow. So it's not like our payment is coming out of money that you've got a budget for you somewhere. Most cities don't go after much of this money anyhow. What we have seen, we did a 30-city study, including the city of Atlanta. The most of what cities gets about 2% of the potential claims. So our contingency fee is kind of being held out of money you don't get anyhow. So that's kind of why we say it's not a huge burden to the city because you're not getting this money because you don't see all the accidents that have all the damage and you're not filing all those claims to get that money, which is what we go do for you. Most of the time it's a resource thing. Cities just don't have enough resources to chase and dedicate to these kind of things. Insurance companies don't like to pay out, so it takes a little bit of work to get them to do that. So that kind of gives you an idea of what the contract value could potentially be. And it is an estimate. We do a risk analysis, kind of let the city see what the risk would be. I mean, naturally, when we started our services, we wanted to be a service that was totally hands-free. We don't want to say, hey, come hire us and then help me do my job. We want to be able to do it all on our own. While you guys are sleeping, we're still going to be working on these claims. That's value. That's what we want to bring to the city. So this kind of gives you a good look at a lot of the risk and why they're really not much of a risk to the city, like any startup or unexpected costs. It's all contingency. If we're not recovering money for you, we don't get paid. That burden is on us. So we know you're not going to put a budget line out there item for us. If we're not recovering the money, we're not earning it, so we don't get it. We typically don't use any city labor support. We're able to get access to the data, do all the assessments, do the estimates, prepare the claims, send them out, follow them up, recover the payments, reconcile everything, and get the money to the city all by ourselves. You don't have to worry about lack of visibility. We give you plenty of reporting on that. And if you guys need updates and reports, you just let us know. We provide that to you. Any technology, security breaches, you don't have to worry about that because we're not using any of your systems. We're working through the state. We're going through TNDOT, their Titan system. So there's no risk to the city on security. Stuff with poor performance, we don't think you're going to be disappointed with what we're doing, but even if you did, our contracts have a standard statement of work in it. You can cancel this thing anytime with just a 30-day notice so that we can clear out all the claims we already have loaded in the system. And then we get a hold of TNDOT, tell them to turn us off, and then we're done. No heartburn at all from us. Staffing issues, we dedicate people to your contract for the life of the contracts. We always have the same people. What these dedicated teams do is they go in and they profile the city very early when we get started. And by profiling the city, I mean they're looking at the state roads, county roads you have here. We can't claim assets on those. They profile all the city streets. They also profile all the utilities, right? Whether you own your water, sewer, electric, they're going to profile all of that stuff. So we've got a good idea of what assets you own, because we want to be careful not to claim somebody else's equipment. And if we do, we normally notify a lot of those big utility companies that are in the area. We do contact state and county agency and let them know that we're working for you. That may actually happen, and we have processes in place if we do recover money for somebody else of how to get it back to them. So there's typically not too many staffing issues. And public backlash, there's typically not a whole lot of that. We don't interact a whole lot directly with drivers unless we are pursuing the uninsured. Most of the time we're working with the insurance companies, and the insurance companies handle their own clients, so we don't really interact with them too much. So there's usually hardly ever any public outcry, because even though this is tort, and tort doesn't really have rules for how you contact people like debt collection actually does. The FDCPA has regulations on how many times you can contact somebody, what time of day, things like that. We try to follow those same rules when we're chasing uninsured, but most of what we do is with the insured. So we're very careful with how we deal with the public. This gives you some kind of statistics of what we've done with some other cities, some of the actual results. So you can see the ones in red. Griffin and Gainesville are pretty similar in size to Livingston, but we have been with Griffin and Gainesville probably for almost 2 years. One we've been for 2 years, one's coming close to 2 years. So that kind of gives you, a rough idea of what we were able to bring these guys. The bottom one down here, what to expect, is looking at how many accidents you actually have per year. You guys will fall in the category of up to 2,000. So it's usually roughly around 3,000 a month was what we'd be bringing back to the city. Like I said, this may not be a whole chunk of money, but it adds up over time, especially when we're doing the previous 3 years. And you're not having to go work to get it. You're not having to pay for it either. So it's a huge advantage. If the money does fall out under the statute of limitations, insurance companies keep it. In the state of Georgia, it's $100 million a year that gets lost and gets left with insurance companies. They don't have to, by law, tell you they owe you money. It is your job to figure that out and go get it. So that's what we do for you, is we figure out what you need to get paid and we go get it for you. And then here gives you kind of an indication of some of the places we're at. Main office is in Atlanta, and then we have another office out in Phoenix, Arizona. So we're just starting to push out into the west. And then I have some standard Q&A questions that come usually from our presentation, but I'll certainly be happy to entertain any questions at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Rowe. Any questions, Mr. Rowe? This is a service that he provides for other cities as well. And when spoke, it seems like that we didn't have anything to lose by him looking into it. It would be, as Mr. Rhodes said, a 3-year agreement that we could get out at any time. Of course, we'd have our attorney to look at the agreement and go from there. But is there any questions right now over what Mr. Rhodes had to say?
Do you propose to make us money?
Can you push your button?
So you propose to make us money?
Oh, I can't make you money. I can only go recover money that you could be recovering but aren't. It's kind of way. So that money, it doesn't need to be made. It's already sitting there waiting to be recovered.
Right.
It's yours for 3 years. If you don't claim it in 3 years, you don't get it. You can go to court all you want. After the statute runs out, the insurance companies keep it. So we're just trying to get that for you.
Good question, Bruce. Any other? Go ahead.
Yeah,
Alderman
Curtis,
Clark.
what are we doing in this arena right now on our own?
We're not doing anything.
So we file a claim, and if it gets paid, fine, but we're not really following it up and working that claim. So you see this as
That's correct.
a no risk, all benefit.
That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Mr. Rhodes?
Yeah, it really is beneficial. I mean, we do have a cash flow that we typically show, but what you have to look at is we only keep our fee when we're recovering for money for you, right? So our fee is typically 19%. So that means of all these claims you normally don't get, you're getting 81% back and we're keeping 19%. So it's always positive cash flow to you. You never have to budget any money for us. So it's always a huge advantage as long as we're able to go recover that money for you. And we pursue the claims for a year before we stop chasing them.
Todd, would you, if we signed an agreement, could you come quarterly and talk to us about where we're at in the process of recovering?
Yeah, we provide your updates monthly.
Okay.
So whoever contact you give us to keep up with, they will get the reporting from us, and you will be able to see all the claims that we're actually working on. We have a bunch of statistics that are inside of our monthly reports. It tells you how many files, how many claims we filed, how many are pending, what the average cost value is, what's our average recovery, what's the total amount we're pursuing, what's the total amount we've already received. So you're going to get a good bit of statistics to really know where this program is on a monthly basis. And then at the end of the year, we give you an annual report. It's going to go into a lot of the details we saw in that one pie chart that was showing you, hey, here's all the things that are getting hit. We try to tell you about some of those things. And then we start trying to give you some insight into things like uninsured or hit and runs. These are other things that we've seen create some problems for some cities. And because we have some clients that 1 in 4 accidents a hit and run, 1 in 3 is uninsured. So even with us, it's hard to recover money in those cases. But it's good to have some kind of understanding of really the profile of the drivers you have. And it's not always the cities, right? I mean, the citizens that are in the city, it's all the people that are driving through your city, right? So we try to give you a really good profile to be able to handle kind of situations that you might be having to deal with. Because most of your damages are coming from people that don't even live in the city. You know, that's a different way of looking at problems as opposed to the damages occurring from people who live here, so.
Thank you, Mr. Rhodes. Does the council want to take any action?
Make a motion, we let our city attorney review the contract, we move forward.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Ken Dotson to accept this contract and the fact that our attorney approves of it. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman John Clough. Any discussion? Roll call vote, Ms. Phillips.
Alderman Knighton,
Yes.
Alderman Elder,
Yes.
Alderman Dale,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dotson,
Yes.
Alderman Linder,
Yes.
Alderman Clough,
Yes.
motion passed.
Motion passed. Mr. Rowe, if you'll just, I don't know if you've got your contract with you, but our attorney, Mr. Andre Griffin, is sitting there in the front row. If you'll just exchange some emails with him, we'll sign it as soon as he gives us the green light, okay? Thank you, and thank you for coming up.
Thank you.
Item number 4 under new business, Miss Amanda Maynard, Grassroots Consulting.
Hello, hello. I may need to push the button as well. Hello, thank you for having me tonight. While I was here, I wanted to do an update on our THDA, Tennessee Housing Development Agency Home Program. As you know, we received that funding last summer, and we are just moving through the process. We had 8 applications, and we are just, those are scored and ranked, and I have sent out letters to some of those homeowners, and what the goal is to, there's going to be 2 replacements of mobile homes, and so those are the ones in most need. So I would like to put those out for bid first after THDA approves that, and then bid those 2 before we move to the rehabilitation homes. Just to see exactly how much funding we will have left after those 2 have been under contract. And of course, you know, these homes are scored through our policies and procedures that we approved last July at the council meeting. So that ranking system is in those policies and procedures. You know, these homeowners applications, all information on that application, the number of people in the household, the number of children in the household, the number of elderly, disabled, all of that goes into a matrix along with the score of the home is how these applications are determined who's going to receive assistance.
Any questions? Thanks for that update, Ms. Maynard. Is there any questions for Ms. Maynard? Okay, thank you. Ms. Maynard, you've got these resolutions. You want to talk about the resolutions?
Would y'all do that now or after Greg gives the update?
I can do it jointly.
Yes.
Greg Davenport on the, Beth, if you can get me Greg, there's Davenport. Go ahead and take that Q&A computer. There he is. Looking a whole lot like Roy Walker over there. Hello, Greg.
Hey, Mayor. Mayor and Alderman, how are you all doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you. So we got a couple of resolutions. I didn't know who wanted to go first. If you wanted to talk about exactly what we plan on doing, or you want to let Amanda talk about these resolutions and you go second, however you'd like to do it.
Let me, if Amanda doesn't mind, let me just go ahead and describe what the work is. Can you all hear me fine?
Absolutely.
Okay. I appreciate you allowing me to attend by Zoom for efficiency's sake. There's really 2 projects going on. I've talked to you in the past, and we've had conversations about the installation of automatic meter read system for all of Livingston's water customers. And what those systems do is they allow the city to drive past a meter and let it register itself with a readout of an employee in a city vehicle instead of stopping and reading the register on the meter and writing a number down and having that typed in to software. So it's, in these days of trying to find people to work in places, and I know y'all have experienced a lot of that too, it provides accuracy and it provides efficiency. In town, we intend on putting acoustic sensors in where the density is sufficient so that these sensors, if 2 sensors hear something, such as a water leak, you know if 2 sensors light up that the water leak is probably between those sensors. That'll help the city identify leaks in the future, which will help reduce unaccounted for water. In the rural areas, we are proposing to put in zone meters at strategic intersections so that they can read back into the register in the vehicle what the usage is in a certain section of the rural distribution system. And the way this is valuable is that if, let's just say the normal gallons per day is 50,000 gallons per day along a certain route, and it all of a sudden jumps up to 100,000 gallons a day for a week straight, you know you probably got a leak in that area. So those projects were split into two phases. The first phase is known as the Water System Improvements Automated Meter Read System in the Monroe Alpine area, with engineering and a construction contingency of approximately 20%. Its estimate is $1.5 million. The second phase is, the first phase has 2,195 water meters in it. The second phase has nearly 3,000 water meters and all the zone meters, and it's estimated to cost $2.5 million. So we got $4 million worth of work, $1.5 million and then $2.5 million. And the plan moving forward was to use some of the city's American Rescue Plan funds provided by TDEC and their non-competitive grants to fund this. The city's eligible for, including their match, they're eligible for approximately $1,056,000 in funding, which has a $96,000 match, so the grant would be $960,000 and change. And the county has been so gracious enough to lend their eligibility in the amount of $689,000. So with match included, the total project would be $1.82 million, and the city would have to cough up $165,000. So it is my recommendation that you pass the two resolutions here before you, which are required as part of the non-competitive grant application with the Tennessee Department of Environmental Conservation. I would like to make one correction to the resolution with the county, Curtis. We had placed in there for needed improvements at the raw water intake. And what I would like that to say is that the raw water intake and for AMR meter installation. Because I believe you're gonna need both of these ARPs to do the phase one of the AMR projects.
Okay, thank you, Greg. So the board has the two resolutions in front of you. One, 2023-2-1 resolution to accept transfer of American Rescue Plan funds, ARPA funds from Overton County, whereas Overton County does not own and operate water or wastewater system, whereas the town of Livingston owns and operates water and wastewater systems that provide water and wastewater services throughout Overton County. And whereas Overton County desires to transfer a portion of its state designated ARP allocation to the town of Livingston to be used for needed improvements at the raw water intake and AMR for the benefits of citizens of Overton County and the town of Livingston. Whereas Overton County desires to transfer $689,560 of the county's ARPA funds to the town of Livingston. The town of Livingston will provide the matching funds of $68,956. Whereas by making this transfer, Overton County is absolved of the responsibility of the application process, administration, reporting on contractual agreements with engineers, contractors, administrators, and any other parties necessary to carry out the program. Now, therefore, we resolve that the town of Livingston accepts Overton County's transfer of $689,560. These funds will be used for water system improvements as allowed by TDEC ARPA grant guidelines. Is there any questions on that resolution?
That's the one he wanted to change the language in and add the, correct?
Yes, he wanted to.
Correct. I would like to say, and it really is just a matter of flexibility. Where it says at the raw water intake, it can say at the raw water intake and for the AMR meter installation in Monroe and Alpine.
Mayor, I believe it's on the second resolution where it references Monroe and Alpine.
It's okay to have it in there twice. I think I referenced it to it. I didn't say Monroe and Alpine, but I'll let the records reflect that for the Monroe Alpine, if the other one says it, that's fine too. No issue. I hear a motion to accept this resolution. transfer the funds from Overton County to the town of Livingston.
So moved.
Motion made, Vice Mayor Ken Dodson, is there a second? Second by Alderman Rex Dale, any discussion? All for the motion, let it know by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign, motion passed unanimously. Resolution 23-2, whereas there exists a need to address the critical needs indicated on the Livingston scorecard, including water loss, whereas AMR meter installation to the Monroe Alpine area will address the critical need, and whereas AMR meter installation is eligible project for water infrastructure investment program, America Rescue Plan Act funds, whereas the town of Livingston wishes to make an application for said project, whereas the town of Livingston is eligible for $960,607.06 in ARPA funds. The town will contribute the matching funds of $96,060.71. Now therefore be resolved, Livingston Mayor be authorized and directed to execute and submit an application for American Rescue Plan Water Infrastructure Funds to the Tennessee Department of Environmental Conservation in order to obtain funds for the necessary water system improvements. Enter into the necessary agreements with Tennessee Department of Environmental Conservation to receive and administer such grant funds, execute necessary agreements for engineering and administrative services without further action by the City Council, contingent upon approval by the funding agency. So this is resolution 2023-2-2. Do I hear a motion to accept this resolution?
So, excuse me, so the city would be out the 68,956 plus the 96,060, right?
That's correct.
And where was that?
Well, it comes out of the
Water
water.
fund.
Yeah, it comes out of the water.
I'll make the motion.
Motion made by Alderman Bill Linder. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Vice Mayor Ken Dodson. Any discussion? Okay, roll call vote, Ms. Phillips.
Alderman Elder,
Yes.
Alderman Dale,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dodson,
Yes.
Alderman Linder,
Yes.
Alderman Quay,
Yes.
Alderman Knight.
Yes.
Motion
Motion
passed.
passed.
Thank you.
Mr. Davenport, Ms. Maynard, is there anything further?
I'd just like to add that the next steps are, once TDEC approves the application and the funds are available, we already have these projects designed in advance and they're ready to bid, so we're hopeful that we can move into bidding in an expeditious manner and get this project underway.
Thank you, Mr. Davenport. We appreciate it. Anything else, Ms. Maynard?
No.
Thank you. Anything else, Mr. Davenport?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Have a good evening. Item number 6 under new business, Miss Mary Michael from Empower Upper Cumberland.
Good evening to you all. I'm Mary Michael. This is my coworker, Tara Shepherd, and we are navigators with the upcoming program here in Livingston called Empower Upper Cumberland. We do have a short presentation for you. Lara Traba is our coordinator for our circles meetings, and she's going to present and then we'll be able to answer any of your questions.
Okay, thank you. Come on up, Mr. Trowbridge.
Hello, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
Thank you all for having us tonight. I have a 25-minute presentation that I'm going to pull down for you all, so
Thank
you're
you.
welcome.
It wasn't going to be a 25 minutes tonight.
You want to cut my mic off, right? I did this in 7 minutes at a church this past Sunday, so I think I can do it. So, yes, Empower Upper Cumberland, you all are going to hear a lot about this. This is a grant, 3-year grant, $25 million over the next 3 years that we're going to work on alleviating poverty in the 14 Upper Cumberland counties. These ladies are going to be covering the Overton County for you all. I hope I can work this correctly. The other gentleman made it look so easy. These are our collaborating partners with Empower Upper Cumberland. the Highlands Economic Partnership, Cookville Regional Medical Center, Circles USA, which we'll talk more about here in just a moment, Upper Cumberland Development District, UCHRA, the Workforce Development Center, and Tennessee Tech. What we're looking for are individuals, families with children in the household that are living under the poverty guideline. We want to help them. We want to take families out of poverty and help them with better skills, with better income, giving them opportunities to education through all these collaborating partners. These ladies are, as they said, Empower Navigators. They're going to work this whole entire area, as we have other navigators that are all throughout the 14 counties. What we're looking for are, when life happens, maybe you had to drop out of school, you had to work, you have a family, you can't get back to school, we're looking to help those individuals with kids in the household. So that's what we're wanting to do to help them move out of poverty. These collaborating partners are partners of ours. Circles USA, I'm going to continue. I don't know if this video will play. Did we ever find the video we're playing?
Beth, Rebecca,
That's okay. I can describe it.
we need to play the video here.
Will you see if that link will play for Circles USA? It's a poverty alleviation system that we're partnering with.
Poverty. The facts are shocking and troubling. More than 43 million people in our country fall below the poverty line. 14.5 million of those living in poverty are children. Almost 14% of households have had difficulty providing enough food due to lack of money or resources. There are many people in poverty in the United States, hurting, feeling trapped, looking for a way out, but they haven't found it yet. But there is something each of us can do to help them and their families now and for generations to come. Meet Circles USA, a national organization that's been helping people lift themselves out of poverty for more than 20 years. With more than 70 local chapters and counting, the Circles proven model is making a difference in communities across North America. You see, we all have different circles we run in. There are work circles, circles of friends and family, neighborhood circles. When you put these circles together, you get a pretty diverse group of people who have helped us grow by sharing their knowledge, experience, and at times, their strength. But not everyone's circles are as big or as diverse. The circles of people who fall below the poverty line mostly include others dealing with poverty and looking for a way out. At Circles USA, we're people committed to our mission. We're opening the door to help individuals and families find the support and skills they need to break the cycle. They become the circle leader, supported by their allies who are deeply committed volunteers from all income levels who become friends and supporters. Each volunteer shares their insights, strategies, and tools. They give support and encouragement, and together help the circle leader create and follow their unique path to prosperity. Circles USA provides the leader with education, tools, and emotional support they can use to open doors to new opportunities. The leader's circle grows. They get excited about their future. They break the cycle of poverty. To make this happen, we need you to take action. You can volunteer to be a Circles ally to befriend and support circle leaders in your community. Your financial support will help us expand the circles. Your business can involve your employees and hire new ones. Or you can start a new Circles chapter in your community. Please join us. Together we will make the circle grow bigger and stronger, and that will make all the difference.
I'll stop and I'll go to the next video. So Circles USA is a partner of ours. What we've been doing in the past with UCHRA, and they've worked with low-income families. They'll come in, they'll need help with rent, they need help with utilities. We give a check, they go on their way. We don't ever check on them again. No one ever bothers to ask what their dreams are, what they want to do, what would they love to do, what would they need a little bit of education, a little bit of support to help do. And that's what we want to do with Empower Upper Cumberland. We want to help those families find out what they want to do in their careers, what would make them driven, and help their family in the long run. So we are looking for individuals with children in the household, that we can serve. We're looking to move 800 families, 1,600 children out of poverty over the next 3 years. We're next on the line for the $25 million to do that with the state of Tennessee, and we are empowered to do it with a lot of these empowered navigators in the Upper Cumberland to do that all over the 14 counties. So what we need from the community is just giving us opportunities to share our vision, to share our story, which thank you all for letting us be here tonight. You can go to the website, and if you know of any low-income individuals or single mothers, or there's lots of cases that we have where we have mom and dad in the household working a minimum wage job, and they're still not making money over the federal poverty guideline. So we want to help those families and increase their skills, increase their income, and help them get off of assistance altogether. You can go to empoweruppercumberland.com. We've got some magnets that we're going to leave with everybody tonight, and people can go online and they can enter online their information to see if they're eligible, and then we'll contact them and help them and their family. The other buy-in is the community. So we've gone to the state, we've gotten $25 million over the next 3 years. We've got a collaboration behind us, Tennessee Tech, the Cook Regional Foundation, we've got all of those pieces. Now we need the community to come together and be these volunteers that I talked about, allies, a mentor, people who will come in and help serve a meal. They have a weekly meeting that the families will come to. They don't have to cook dinner once a week, and they can actually sit down with a mentor and work on what their dream is, what their passion, and what their pathway is. So that's what Empower Upper Cumberland is in 6 minutes.
Did good.
Thank you.
You did good.
I'll bring that.
Thank you very much for being here. The 6 minutes, we could have spent a lot longer, but I think the point, the presentation you did was an excellent job, trying to help folks, especially in the poverty level. When you came and seen me, I knew that this was an item that I wanted to put on the agenda. Do our part to try to get the word out in our community about this. And so is the program officially kicked off?
Yes, sir. We got the grant in April, and we've been hiring and training a staff of 24 navigators to serve the Upper Cumberland area. And they're all trained, ready, and our switch is on. You can go online and register for services and enter your information. And like I said, all that is on the magnets there. And we're actually starting our big marketing push now that we're ready. The website's ready. You'll hear a lot more about this. I just wanted you all to be able to hear it from us first and hear it from us here. So thank you all again.
Thank you, ladies, for being here. Absolutely, thank you. Lyra, if you'll push your button. Yeah, thank you. Okay, item number 7, Ms. Whiting was unable to be here tonight due to sickness, so she'll be back in March. Item number 8 and 9, we have Mr. Tommy Lee. Is Tommy still here? Okay, come on up, Tom.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. Good to see you again. We have 2 ordinances for first reading tonight, as recommended by the Municipal Planning Commission. Phyllis, could you tell me which one is first on the docket, please? Okay, thank you. Yes, thank you very much. So we have a request from Wayne Rex to change the zoning classification of the property at 399 Salina Highway from R1 low density residential to C1 local commercial. And currently at that residence, currently at the property, it is a single family residence. And the Rexes are looking to rezone this property to C1 to establish a restaurant. And this property is located just before you turn in on Valley Drive on Highway 52, going towards Salina. Little history behind this property is it was C1 for many years. And a couple of years ago, Mr. Rex came and asked to rezone it to R1 to establish a residence, and now they are asking to revert back to C1. We did send out notifications to all adjoining property owners, and we did not hear anything back, positive or negative, regarding the rezoning. We then heard the case at the Planning Commission meeting last Monday night, and with a unanimous vote, we recommended to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen to rezone the property at 399 Salina Highway from R1 to C1.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. Any questions for Tommy? This has already been to the Planning Commission. You heard Mr. Lee say that it was unanimous. This is our recommendation to the Board of Aldermen. I hear a motion.
So moved.
Motion made by Alderman John Clough. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman David Langford. Any discussion? All for the motion, let it know by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion passed. Ordinance number 2, Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a request from Assured Development and Management Corporation, known as ADAM, to rezone property located at the intersection of High Tech Drive and East 7th Street from R1 low density residential to R2 high density residential. This property is located directly across from the Housing Authority on High Tech Drive, if you're familiar with that. This is a small portion of a larger development by the Adam Corporation. And with this particular property, what they want to do is divide it into 2 parcels and have 2 7,500 square foot lots and construct a single family residential on each one. So they're not doing duplexes, they're not doing multifamily, they just want the smaller density lots to be able to do this. Adam Corporation owns all the property around it with the exception of the northern boundary, and that's owned by Mr. Brown. I did speak with Mr. Brown on the telephone and he had no issue with the rezoning. This was brought to the Planning Commission last Monday night. It was unanimously recommended to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen to rezone the property from R1 low density residential to R2 high density residential.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. Again, there's been no complaints either for or against, and we've not had any calls here. This is recommended from the Planning Commission. Do I hear a motion? Motion made by Alderman Bill Linders. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Bruce Elder. Any discussion? All for the motion, let it know by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion passed. Thank you, Mr. Lee.
And just one more thing, if you will, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Both of these are for first reading, and so at the next council meeting will be a public hearing and second reading.
Public hearings start at 5:50 on March the 6th. For both of these, one at 5:50, one at 5:55. The city council meeting will be at 6 o'clock.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the board.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. Item number 10, Chief Ray Smith, Police Department.
Thank you, Mayor and Board Alderman. There's a couple things on the agenda there I'd like to see.
Ray, if you push your button, please.
Thank you. Couple things. One is, to the fortunate of the great Grand Bend roads, we were able to replace some old units, and we have a few old units that I've listed on a sales list. I'm asking the board and Mayor and Board Alderman to allow us to sell, and we'll use it in the matter to help equip some more units there.
And this sale, we talked about it, it will be a public auction here down where City Garage like we normally do. Some of the items, I think we agreed that we'll go on gov deals, but for the most part, it will be a public auction here in Livingston. The date will be, make that announcement a little bit closer.
Yes, sir. Second thing on there, we have come to the need of body cams. Body cams is a major asset for our police department and also for the general public. A lot of things are reported in there, we use them for recording documentation. The old units that we used to have was put out the Blue Line. Blue Line has went out of business. And fortunately for this, Chief Rocky Dial always writes a safety grant every year. And we got together and with the safety grant he wrote, GHSO, there's over $12,500 worth of grant money that is given to us. We did a lot of research, put out the bids, and watch guards put on by Motorola. Motorola is a company that's been around a long time, stand behind their product, know their product. They gave us an opportunity to try these products out. We put them on officers and went out and did our job. They fit well, they hang in there well, they're really rugged. They'll do the job for quite a while. It seems like they've got a great standard. Not only that, our local sheriff's department also went with the same company. Fortunately with this, we do work together with them, and those cameras will entwine one with another. They'll link up. If we're on the same call together, they'll link up. You can watch it in several different matters, in several different ways, and separate eye views of whatever situation we find ourselves in. I'm asking the board to approve the purchase of these cameras through our drug fund. I checked into the drug fund. They said we are allowed to purchase this through drug fund. In fact, it's a one-time purchase. It's not a reoccurring, picking up all time reoccurring and going back to the same purchase of the cameras.
Thank you, Chief. So first, let's step back here for just a second. And I need to entertain a motion for this asset sale to be a public option. You have a list in front of you. Those would be sold and took out of our fleet.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Vice Mayor Ken Dodson. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Alderman Bill Linder. Any discussion? All for the motion, let it know by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Motion passed. Next, the chief is requesting an estimated $37,070 from the Livingston Police Drug Fund for purchasing of the body cameras that we have. I think I'm not going to read all that. I think the chief has explained it. But some of it is grant, but it'd be $37,070 coming out of the drug fund. He's right. It would not be a reoccurring expense.
Make a motion about the cameras.
Motion made by Alderman David Langford. Is there a second? Second by Alderman John Clough. Any discussion?
We know how much money's in the drug fund?
I'm sorry.
You know how much is in the drug fund? Off the top of your head.
I know it's nothing there to cover that. I know exactly.
Rex, we'll get you that answer.
Just curious.
I don't know what it is. If the check bounces. All right, we got a motion and second to pay $37,070 out of the drug fund. Roll call, Ms. Phillips.
Alderman Dale,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dodson,
Yes.
Alderman Linder,
Yes.
Alderman Clough,
Yes.
Alderman Langford,
Yes.
Alderman Elder,
Yes.
motion passed.
Motion passed. Anything else, Chief?
No, sir.
All right, thank you. Push your button, please. Any other business for the city council? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion made by Vice Mayor Ken Johnson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bill Linder. All for the motion, let it know by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. We're adjourned.